Page 146, Fur Elise. Very famous piano solo. Most every piano student, if they get advanced enough, plays this piece. I took it to music festival in 8th grade and played it, and it was fun. I've been playing it ever since. This is a nice little arrangement of it, and this is just part of it. The whole thing is a lot longer than this. This is nice. It gives us an idea of moving your hands around and expressing and interpreting and pedaling and all kinds of things. It's the final piece in the book. If you don't have a teacher, I would encourage you, please go back through the book again. Go through all the lessons again. Review everything again. You'll find you'll play the pieces faster and better and more comfortably as you do this before going to book 2. There is a review after this, the last review. Again, the answers are in the back of the book, but if you have questions, you're welcome to ask. Let's look this piece over. It's 2 pages long, sort of. The repeat signs are going to make it a lot longer than that. It's almost like it's twice as long as it looks. Treble and bass clef, no sharps or flats in the key signature, so it's either in C major or A minor, and to figure out which, we'll look at the end. At the bottom of page 147, you have here. That's an A minor chord. There's no E in it, but take my word for it. It's an A minor chord. We'll figure this is an A minor. Just make sure the scales you do is for C major and A minor, because those are the 2 scales with no sharps or flats in the key signature. And 3/4 time we have a pickup beat. Lots of accidentals. Let's take this one hand at a time. I mean, it's mainly 8th notes. 1N, 2N, 3N. Well, okay. And it's 3N, and they want 5 here. 1, then 4, 2, then a D natural. See, they need the natural sign because you already had a D sharp in this measure. Now, if they didn't have the natural sign there, that would be a D sharp, because that sharp from before is good for the rest of the measure. So they have to have the natural sign here. And this pattern is all over the place. You can, if you would like. I mean, there's nothing wrong with 5 and 4. It's good practice for those fingers. But you can also do 4 and 3. Just reach down 1, and then you can do 4 or 2. See, there's different fingerings for it. The point is, don't cross over the thumb and connect the notes. So if I do a 4 here, I'm going to do a thumb, and I can do a 3 here. Or their fingering, you don't have to do that. I'll leave that up to you and your teacher to decide. And then you come down here for the broken chord. Again, another broken chord. This 4th finger down to the B. And then octave, and you're doing that again. Third line down, last measure, here, and then come up. Now there's no rest here. You got to connect these. I have a habit here. I got a long time ago when I had smaller hands. Is this last line here to go on? I'd play that with 3rd finger and immediately put 4th on it. I'd substitute because I'm closer to where I want to be. It's easier for me to reach that with 4th finger than 3rd. You don't need to. You can stay on 3rd if you can reach it. But I have a habit of substituting each time. Again, until I get to the top 147, and that sequence stops. I don't need to substitute anymore. Then I've got the octaves, the E's, and then E octave higher. That 3 ledger lines above the treble clef, that's an E, because 2 ledger lines, remember, is a C, so 3 is an E, so it's just an octave higher. And then you come back, they say 2, 1. I typically will do whatever finger I'm going to use for that pattern. Whatever finger I'm using, that's what I'm using here. Whatever it is. Then at the bottom of the page, the last 2 measures. You're here. That is a D now. Because before on this pattern, it's always been an E. But now it's a D, the last one. And connect it. So you reach down here. Yeah. Left hand, broken chords. So here. And then you do, it's an octave and then cross over here. You get used to this after a while. It's kind of awkward at first, but you get used to it. You need to be able to do that anyway. Relax, and you can move. Stay relaxed, because you get this quite a bit. That's all over the place. Go over to page 147. You get the octaves. It's a 5, 5, 1. Now, I happen to like this fingering, and I'll explain why later. But yes, I want to use 5 twice here. Here. And then treble clef. So it's octaves again, and you're still in treble clef. And then in the second line, you get your bass clef back. The last note at the bottom. That's 3 ledger lines below the bass clef. Well, 1 ledger line is E, and 2 is C, and you should know C for sure. And 3 is just 1 more, so it's an A. Put the hands together. Well, it's... because I've been playing this piece, I tend to use the fingering I'm used to. And what I'm actually doing here at the beginning, I'm doing the here, and then the last E, I'm putting 5 on it. Like that. That's what I typically do. Use any fingering that fits for you. And here, lift up in the right hand when you play that. This way you can move the right hand down and be ready to go. Because these eighth notes need to be even. All even, so you got to be there. And so forth. You go through and put the hands together. Play it all connected at first. Nice and even. Take it whatever speed you want. Go as slow as you need to go to make it even with no hesitations. Then we think about the articulation. Follow the slurs here. Lift. Just follow their slurs. At the top of page 147, you get the 2-note slurs. And this is why I like this fingering. I want to connect those notes. I want down, up, down, up, down, up. You see the 2-note slurs? Ba-da, ba-da, ba. That's what we want. But you have to be careful because a lot of times you do 2-note slurs, your rhythm gets off and they're not even anymore. That's ba-da, ba-da, ba. That's... It starts doing that. They got to be even. And I'm playing that staccato because I need to get here. I need to get up there. And you say, well, the pedal's going to cover that up. Yeah, we'll talk about the pedal in a minute. As far as the dynamics go, it's sort of both hands, but if you have a doubt, make it the right hand. Very soft. Very soft. It's all very soft. But you have that swell. See that in the first full measure? Look in the middle of the swell and what note or notes are there, and that's where you're headed. You're only going to go up to about soft. So it's like da 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 right there. Those 2 notes. I want to be soft there. Then back down. That's it. Third line down, last measure, you're going to go up to moderate. Second section, section B. You're up to moderately loud here. Page 147, second measure, you get the diminuendo to go back down to very soft. Each pair is getting a little softer. So moderately loud, moderately soft, soft, very soft. So each one gets a little softer. At the end, you get a dim e poco rit at the bottom. Diminuendo and slow down a little bit. poco retardando. So we're already very soft, so you're going to go down super. Yeah, you just slow down and die away. Speed, it depends on what you can play accurately on these. It's not fast. Con moto means with motion, but it doesn't mean fast. The eighth notes will provide the motion. You don't have to worry about it. It's the feeling. You find lots of recordings of this, and they play it at different speeds. It doesn't matter. It's got to be accurate. So you take it at your speed. And if your speed is really slow, that's the way it has to be. That is too slow, but it's got to be accurate. So that goes first. Then, of course, they've added pedal. We like to have the pedal because we want the overtones. Beethoven used a lot of pedal when he did, but he had different instruments than we do today. But still, we want the overtones. We just don't want it to get mushy. It's going to be the lag pedaling. I want to put the note down first and then the pedal. So here, push the notes down, then the pedal. And I lift the pedal up right after I play the C, so it's connected. I want it to sound like one solid long thing. They've got slur. All once. Here, there. I don't want to pedal it all the way. That's too much. This is, no, it's out of character for the piece. So you're only pedaling, lift it up after you play the C, right there. And it's the same pedaling through most of this. Now, when you get down to the third line, last measure here, it's a new phrase. It's going in a new section. Would like to hear a breath here. A little silence there, so I'm going to lift the pedal up with the hand so we hear the little silence. I don't want to connect it. No, I don't want any. I want some silence there. And then I'm connecting it. And at the top of page 147, I disagree with this. They got you pedaling. I want to hear the two-note slurs. So I'm going to pedal it with the slurs. I'm not pedaling the first beat. Here, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I'm pedaling with the slur to help bring up, the overtones on the first one and no overtones on the second. That's what I suggest. And you can retard a little bit there if you want to. It's part of interpreting the piece. Now, on the end of the second line underneath, you see the ped simile. The asterisk is for the footnote. Forget the footnote, I'm going to explain it. Simile means keep doing what you're doing, whatever you're doing. And you'll see simile a lot in music, and it could be anywhere. The word simile could, who knows? Well, it applies to where it's at, because it could apply to anything just about. They put in pedal here to tell you that it applies to the pedal. But a lot of places, when they do that, a lot of publishers, they won't put in the word pedal. All you get is the word simile. And you got to figure out what's simile. Here, because simile is underneath there where the pedal markings are, it would apply to the pedal. Telling you to keep pedaling it the same way, or doing the same thing you've been doing, or whatever it applies to. Now when you get to the bottom, on the first two measures is fine, you pedal. Now here you're going to repeat. This is the same as the last measure of the third line on page 146. I want a little silence before I do that. Like taking a breath, yeah. But in the last two measures, pedal the last half note here. We can put overtones on that. Yeah. warn you here on this piece, because some people, in interpreting it, they put in a bunch of rubato. They'll slow down and speed up. Please don't. Keep this at a steady speed throughout. You know, you put in a little ritardando maybe at the top of page 147. Here, these, you slow down a little bit and then take off if you want. And you put in the ritardando at the end, but otherwise, please don't be speeding up and slowing down in this. It's a steady speed throughout. Now the road map, I didn't go over that, but hopefully you understand it by now. On page 146 in the third line, you have first and second endings. So you play the first ending, the repeat sign sends you back to the beginnings because there's no reverse repeat sign. And then when you play the third line again, you skip the first ending and go to the second and keep going. Okay. You have a reverse repeat sign at the beginning of the last line there on page 146. Well, when you get down to the bottom of page 147, you take the first ending to the repeat sign. That sends you to the reverse repeat sign back on page 146. And you do all that again and then play the second ending instead of the first when you do it the second time. So it's really twice as long as it looks. Let's play it together very slowly and double check all the notes and rhythms. I'm going to pedal it like I suggested. I'm not going to do any dynamics, and we're going to do the repeats the whole bit. So I'm going to give us 2 counts. Ready and go and, because that's 2 counts, because eighth notes. Ready and go and then we go and. Now make sure you can play this without any hesitations or this won't work. Ready and go and.